Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chief Tidwell, I hope you're well. It's good to see you. Thank you for your service, and thanks to the rest of the panel for being here. In Colorado, Forest Service lands surrounding communities like Dillon and Summit County, which I know you're familiar with. Forest Service lands surround communities like Dillon. However, the geography and land values limit opportunities to develop affordable housing and other community-based facilities. The Colorado Department of Transportation recently offered to work with the Forest Service near Dillon to construct affordable housing for seasonal employees on the service's land. This could save money, increase the affordable housing stock while creating new business opportunities. We're working on a measure that would provide the Forest Service flexibility to undertake projects like that. I wanted to ask you, Chief Tidwell, if you're familiar with this work and these issues and you're willing to work with us to ensure that the Forest Service can partner with communities to solve critical housing and facility needs in communities like Dillon, but other communities all across the Rocky Mountain West.
Yes, Senator, I'm very personally familiar with that issue, having lived in some of those communities myself, and that there's definitely a need to provide some affordable housing, especially in these areas that have very high housing costs, and it's just a lot of Colorado, but also in some of the other states. So we are interested and want to work with you is to find a way to be able to look at the different options that we have to be able to provide housing. I know with ski resorts, they've come forward with proposals to construct housing that would, at their cost to be able to provide for this. It's something we want to look into to see. But there is definitely a need for this, and not only with, the ski areas, but just all the services in these communities, and including our employees too. They struggle with the same issue.
And I think we have the opportunity to be good neighbors. We just have to break down some of these barriers. So I appreciate very much your willingness to work on that. And then that brings me to my second question. My concerns, and I don't think this is parochial to be concerned about the watershed, America's watershed, which is in our forests in Colorado. Anybody who's downstream of us, which is almost everybody, needs to care about the condition of those watersheds and the condition of those forests. And this is one of the things that the inability of, even though this committee works well together, the inability to be able to really solve some big issues here is having a profound effect. And I really want to raise the alarm on the condition of our national forests and our inability to do the kind of restoration that's required to protect these watersheds and communities downstream from these forests. And so I wanted to ask you, Chief, and I know you know this issue extremely well, but just to be as candid as possible with the committee, what is the biggest impediment to accomplishing more restoration? And to what extent is that about a lack of resources, fire, borrowing, whatever it is? What can we do to finally get to a place where we're making the investment that's required here? And
well, Senator, first of all, I just cannot thank the committee enough for the 2014 Farm Bill authorities with both the insect and the disease designations that allows us to be able to expedite projects to be able to address that risk. And then the Good Neighbor Authority that we're really excited about. Now we have 95 agreements across the country, and we're just really getting started on that. Both of those help us to get more work done. It provides additional capacity. And there's no question that that is one of the challenges we have. So the Good Neighbor Authority allows us to be able to work with our states, to be able to use the state personnel, their staff to be able to get more work done. But there's no question that this issue with how to pay for the cost of wildland fire has had a significant impact on our ability. Going from 16% of our budget back in &98 to now over 53%. And I can't stress enough, it's not about the budget, it's about what's not getting done. So during that time, our folks have done a great job to be able to continue to get a lot of work done, being very innovative. But the consequences of that has resulted in a 40% reduction in our employees that are outside of fire. And once again, it's not about our staff, but it's about the work that could be done. We right now have anywhere from 65 to over 80 million acres that our research and our inventory shows that we need to do some form of restoration on that to improve the overall health of our forests. we're making good progress every year, but there's some urgency to this. And it's just essential that we find the way to be able to increase the pace and scale to get the work done, to provide for the healthy watersheds. And what this does, it just sustains rural America. So it's one that seems to be a lot of agreement on this, and we're doing what we can to increase our efficiencies. But this is one of the things that we're going to continue to be asking for your help.
Well, and I would say, Mr. Chairman, that I want to thank you for your leadership and the ranking member on this. Because of your work on the last Farm Bill, we were able to introduce important flexibilities like you're talking about, the Good Neighbor Authority, for example. But at a certain point, and I'm for flexibility, I think it's important, at a certain point, we need people on the ground that can do this work. And I know in Colorado, for instance, there are a ton of veterans that are coming back who would like to do this work on behalf of the Forest Service and the country, and it'd be nice to be able to fund that so we could get it done. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.